TNT postgame show.
As the celebration continues here in the Superdome, it's a reminder that history does indeed repeat itself. Brett Favre throws an interception. His team loses in overtime of the championship game, and the New Orleans Saints are going on to the Super Bowl. 41-38 the final. Kurt Menefee along with a sick Terry Bradshaw, Howie Long, Michael Strahan, and Jimmy Johnson. And because my man Terry is under the weather, Chris Myers is on the podium with the champions of the NFC.
Thanks, Kurt, and it could get loud in here. The party is just getting started. After more than 4 decades, the New Orleans Saints are going to their first ever Super Bowl. And nobody has moved. Tom Benson, the owner, is here. We have Deuce McAllister, the Saints' all-time leading rusher. Of course, Sean Payton, Drew Brees, and we'll get to it. They're hollering Deuce for you to present the NFC trophy. As the headline of the Times-Picayune says, Super Saints. So, Deuce, take it away.
How about that, New Orleans? Mr. Benson, on behalf of the NFL, it's my honor to present to you the George Halas Trophy as the NFC champions.
All right, Mr. Benson, I know you're glad you kept the Saints here in New Orleans. Talk about what it means to this city and all the Saints fans and players over the years after more than 4 decades to now go to a Super Bowl.
Well, not only the 70,000 that are here, but think of the 7 million in our part of the country and other parts of this world that really are cheering for us tonight.
All right, well, congratulations again. We welcome in Coach Sean Payton, if I could. And that's right, that's yours and your team's, Sean. And nobody has moved from their seat. The Saints to the Super Bowl, Sean. How did you do it?
This is for everybody in this city. This stadium used to have holes in it. It used to be wet. It's not wet anymore. This is for the city of New Orleans.
And
I'm so proud. I'm so proud to be able to coach these players. And there's really no one else I'd rather hand this to than Drew Brees.
all right, well, there you go. Coach, way to go, Drew. Can I just ask you, Coach, before we hear from Drew, Sean, can I get just a comment on, I mean, fans around the country were treated to a spectacular game. How do you survive a game like this?
Well, both teams were unbelievable, you know, and just at the end of the game, you know, I grabbed Brett Favre and said, you know, he was tremendous. Both teams played out of this world, and again, I'm just honored to be a part of this and have these guys to coach.
Well, have fun in Miami. You deserve it.
Thank you very much. Who dat?
The Who Dat Nation. And Drew, you and Sean Payton came to New Orleans under difficult circumstances, and I know you have one more win in you. Talk about the dream.
I mean, so many words that could describe it, but I'm speechless right now. It's a moment that I've been waiting for a long time, and obviously the job's not done yet, but we're going to enjoy this victory. And how about these fans, huh?
They're great.
We got the best fans in the world, the Who Dat Nation. Now we got to finish strong in Miami, baby. Finish strong in Miami.
And around the country and the Gulf Coast, Drew, in the game, it was a real back and forth. Emotionally, how did you hold up? How was your team able to do it?
We just had to stay the course. You know, obviously there's always going to be ebb and flow throughout the course of a game like this, playing a great opponent in the Vikings. And we knew it was going to be a battle down to the wire, and but we knew that we had the ability to finish this the right way, and we did.
Well, thanks for all your work and a great game. We'll see you in Miami. All right, congratulations, Drew Brees. And Darren Sharper, if we could just hear for one of the guys on the Saints defense. And a cagey old veteran who gets to go to the Super Bowl. Talk about the emotional roller coaster of this game.
Oh man, this is the type of game you want to play in to get to the Super Bowl. Our fans, I tell you, fans are the reason that we were able to push through and keep fighting. We got to owe it to y'all. Y'all kept giving us energy to have us to keep fighting and pull it off at the end. But this is what you want to do to get to the Super Bowl.
You took on the mighty Brett Favre, but you survived, and now you have to worry about the Indianapolis Colts and Peyton Manning.
Yeah, you know, when you play in the playoffs, you know you're going to face tough opponents, the best quarterbacks in the league. The Minnesota Vikings played extremely well today, you know, playing Brett Favre, and now we got to play Peyton Manning. Brett prepared us, but we got another tough challenge in Peyton.
All right, I don't know where the trophy is, but for all those years, you have that thing because there's a lot of patience, faith, and love. Why don't you and your teammates, Darren, can you share it with the Saints fans?
It's been a long time, but this time we're going to win it.
All right, can you take it around the stadium? We got people waiting for you. All right, good luck, Darren. Have fun. We'll see you in Miami. And we'll follow you as you take the trophy around to the fans and those who have supported the Saints for all these years. Let's now go back to Kurt Menefee.
All right, the celebration does indeed continue after 43 years of being maybe one of the worst teams in the league. A lot of those years, fans wearing bags over their heads, calling themselves Aints. But they stuck by this franchise and have been rewarded. 4.5 years ago, this building housed one of the most difficult scenes to see in the history of America, but now it is a scene of celebration along with the city of New Orleans. Their fans and the Saints have finally gone from football purgatory to football heaven. The New Orleans Saints are in the Super Bowl for the first time in the history of this franchise. Back here at sideline, Kurt Menefee, and I want to begin with the Louisiana native because we could hear really in the voice of a guy that really, Sean Payton is pretty loquacious, but you could hear in his voice he was speechless because this means so much besides football to this city.
Well, you know how all of these players have taken it upon themselves since Katrina, the burden not only of the city but the Gulf Coast. We know how much this means to them to bring this championship, and we saw today that burden finally lifted and the elation coming out. It's not only for the city of New Orleans, it's for the state of Louisiana, all Saints fans, the Gulf Coast, and everyone. Going back all the way to 1967, remember when John Gillum took the opening kickoff back 94 yards. But they have earned it. They did not slip in. They earned it in overtime against a great quarterback, Brett Favre. Kurt Warner got him ready for Brett. Brett got him ready for Peyton.
You know, we talked about in the pregame how Sean Payton and the Saints football team has embraced this city's hopes and dreams. And like this city's road to recovery, the Saints' road to the Super Bowl was a very difficult one. And to me, it turned out to be, as we talked about in the pregame, about destiny, right down to the coin flip and the booth reviews. This was the way it was supposed to happen for the New Orleans Saints. It wasn't easy, but they're here.
It wasn't easy, and you know what? These guys persevered. Looked like they lost this game. Most teams, most players would have said, we're losing on a field goal. They hung in there, made big plays, got the coin toss, and really when they needed it, not after making any 3rd and 1 throughout the game, they needed it, they got it done. Hats off to the Saints. It's an absolute great feeling, and I'm very happy for these guys today.
And Michael, I think you summed it up. You know, everybody, they believed that they were going to win this ball game. You know, I had the honor to talk to this team on Thursday after practice, and they were believing that they were going to win. Even though defensively they gave up a bunch of yardage, they got the 5 turnovers, and that was the big thing. And as we said in the pregame show, down in the French Quarter, laisse the bon temps rouler.
Let the good times roll. That's what it means. All right, guys, the party just getting started. When we come back, more interviews with the happy New Orleans Saints, a Super Bowl preview, and we'll hear from the Vikings as well, hopefully Brett Favre. But first, a reminder that if you want to receive exclusive football updates throughout the week, text the word FOX to 387 on your wireless phone from AT&T. Hey, you think the good times are rolling right here in the Superdome? Check out Bourbon Street. If there's anywhere that knows how to party, that street right there does it better than anyone else. The AT&T postgame continues.
The Cardinals take on the Steelers.
Looking for an unprecedented 6th Super Bowl ring, the Steelers played a dominant first half.
Here comes James Harrison after. He's running up the sideline, and that's a touchdown from Pittsburgh.
The unflappable Cardinals engineered a fourth-quarter comeback with Larry Fitzgerald.
Fitzgerald, he got it! Fires over the middle of Fitz, caught at the 45-50.
Fitzgerald, after a quiet first half, has become a force here in the second half. 2:31 left. Steelers have 2 timeouts. They trail by 3. He scrambles around, throws it back corner of the end zone.
Santonio Holmes, I don't know how he did it. Roethlisberger looked to the right, to the left, back to the right, and then threw it into the very corner of the end zone.
The confetti's all in the air. This was a great one, and the Steelers prevail.
NFL on ESPN America. NFL on ESPN America.
ESPN Classic, where passion makes the difference between the good and the great.
For the widest choice of official North American sports merchandise, for the perfect gift to collect or just to look good and support your team, visit espn.com.
Back at the home of the NFC champs, the New Orleans Saints. Kurt Menefee and the gang with you live from the Superdome, celebrating the Saints' 31-28 victory. And I tell you what, as we sit here, we've got so many people on this desk, we could be a cable pregame show. It's like everybody's up here, but we are happy to be joined right now by Reggie Bush and Drew Brees, two of the stars of the New Orleans Saints. First of all, congratulations, guys.
Yes.
They can't hear us. I guess they can't hear.
Looks good on you.
We're on the air, guys. You can't hear down there, but just talk a little bit about what this means to you, Reggie, in particular.
Hey, what does winning this game here in New Orleans mean for you?
You know what? To be able to bring a championship here to New Orleans, after all the hard work that we put in and all the things we've been through in the last 4 years, there's no greater feeling, and I think this is the single most greatest event to ever happen in New Orleans.
We talked about this team in many ways being a team of destiny. And the road to recovery for this city's been difficult, and the road to the Super Bowl for you today was equally difficult, but it came down to destiny, right down to the coin flip. Talk about at the end of the football game, what's going through your mind when you win that coin flip?
I was thinking there's no doubt we're going to go and win this game. Sure enough, it is destiny, and you can draw so many parallels between the city and our team and the way that we've united and the way that we fought through so much adversity to get to this point. And now finally we've been able to bring an NFC championship to this town, and next stop's Miami.
Drew, you kept the pass rush of Minnesota off of you for the most part all night long. What did you do to slow down their pass rush?
I felt like we had a great plan in place. Obviously, that's one of the best pass rushing lines in the league. And if you don't have a plan for them, then they can make it a bad day for you. I thought our left tackle, Jamon Bushrod, both tackles, John Stinchcomb did a great job with those ends. Guys up front, we were chipping guys, obviously making sure that they weren't disruptive, and it allowed us to push the ball down the field a little bit and obviously run the ball effectively.
Reggie, I don't want to bring up bad moments, but what were your thoughts on that punt?
You know what? Watching their punter in pregame, I knew he was going to give me some high punts. I knew he wasn't going to give me a chance to return the punts. And I felt like that specific punt, I felt like he kind of shortchanged it, and I thought I had a chance.
As soon as I caught it and looked up, the guy was right in my face. And, you know, it's a gut-wrenching feeling when that happens to you. But, you know, it's true that this is a team game. Next few plays, defense got the ball back for us, gave us a chance to stay in the game. And, you know, here we are.
Well,
you made up for it with your touchdown.
He made up for it with a touchdown. You guys go in, celebrate with your teammates. Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
We want one of those, brother.
Hey, it's yours for the taking.
You talk about turning things around. Drew Brees and Reggie Bush, a big part of that. When Reggie Bush was drafted by the Saints, they had the #2 pick in the draft. That means they were the second worst team in the league. Now they are in the Super Bowl. All right, when we come back, we'll head to the Vikings locker room and hear from Brad Childress. Plus, we'll look ahead to the Super Bowl between the Colts and the Saints. That's when the AT&T postgame continues.
AT&T's 3.
Hello out there, we're on the air. It's hockey night tonight. Tension grows, the whistle blows, and the puck goes down the ice. The goalie jumps and the players bump and the fans all go insane. Someone roars, Bobby scores at the good old hockey game. Oh, the good old hockey game is the best game you can name. And the best game you can name is the good old hockey game.
February on ESPN Classic. We bring you a brand new series featuring the moments that made the Reds one of the most successful clubs in English football history.
And he scored!
In Liverpool Classics. Also in February, the Doctor's in the house for his very own birthday bonanza. We give MotoGP's top consultant the special treatment and bring you the races that made him a legend.
Side by side, Valentino Rossi wins the race.
And with Vancouver on everyone's mind, we then take you snowbound with arguably some of the best Winter Olympic moments ever. Making this an unmissable month on ESPN Classic.
Manning trying to go quickly. The throw downfield is to Reggie. He's got it 40. Touchdown. Manning looks, pumps, throws to the end zone. Touchdown, Marvin Harrison. Peyton on first down. They air it out deep, intended for Reggie Wayne. Reggie's got it. That was a perfect throw. Manning takes the snap, sets up, throws downfield, open is a dive. Touchdown, Joseph Adai.
NFL on ESPN America.
Today it will be a parenthesis on a great career, but in the last NFC Championship game he played, he threw his last pass was intercepted and his team lost in overtime. Today he gets back to the NFC title game, this time in a Vikings uniform. His final pass intercepted and his team loses in overtime. So Brett Favre, his last 2 championship games end in heartbreaking losses. Inside that Vikings locker room, our Pam Oliver went, where she had a chance to talk not to Favre, but to Adrian Peterson, who lost a couple of fumbles today as well.
Thank you very much, Adrian. I see you're still in your uniform. You're one of the few guys. You just must be in a state of shock.
Yeah, I am. You know, I'm just looking
looking back at this game, you know, we really gave those guys the game. You know, too many turnovers, and you can't win a game, especially a game like this of this caliber. You can't win it when you turn the ball over.
But you guys kept fighting at least, you know. But do you just feel almost they earned a lot, but did you give away too much?
You know, they earned a lot, but we gave away too much. And still with that, we was in a position to win this ball game. We just ran out of time.
You seem very hurt right now. You gonna be all right?
I'm gonna be all right. Keep my head up. It's a learning lesson. I came back out and just peeked at these guys, see these guys celebrating. You know, it's eating me up inside, but it's definitely gonna give me something to look forward to this offseason.
We do know you'll come back with the vengeance next season. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, that's a tough locker room anytime you have to go in and talk to the losing team. And Michael, I know yours was in a Super Bowl, but you had a heartbreaking loss against Baltimore. Talk about the feeling and the emotion, and also how you use that for next season.
Well, you know, you use that emotion for next season by saying, okay, if we go out here and work as hard, possibly, guys, we can be that team. Remember the feeling of walking off that field, the confetti's falling, and it's for somebody else. And you get in the locker room, you look at every mistake you've made, Jimmy, and you think, boy, if that one little play, if I'd only made that tackle, that's what they're going to struggle with. If I'd held on to the ball, those are the questions they're going to have, and I know Brett Favre is going to have many after that last interception. Those are what they're going to have to face for the entire offseason.
And Brad Childress can look at his football team and say, listen, we've got a great football team. You know, we can be a great football team next year. We just got it just a little bit better. 2 #1 seeds for the first time since 1993 will play in the Super Bowl. And he said, hey, if we could have won one more game and maybe had home field advantage, that would have been the difference. Because he said, hey, I think we had the best football team, but not the best football team today. We turned it over too many times. We can correct those mistakes, and we'll be that much better next year.
The only difference, Jimmy, for Minnesota, it could very well be that Brett's not there.
Yeah.
And that's huge. That's huge.
A lot of people are wondering that on our pregame show in his interview with Pam Oliver. He says he knows what he's going to do, but he was not going to announce it before the game. And R.J. Glazer reports that every player in that Minnesota locker room thinks he's going to retire. Now, Jay's not saying he is, but he says every player thinks he is. That'll be a story, of course, of this offseason. But when we come back, a Super Bowl preview, the Saints and Colts 44.
The Cardinals take on the Steelers.
Looking for an unprecedented 6th Super Bowl ring, the Steelers played a dominant first half.
Picked off, James Harrison has it. He's running up the sideline, and that's a touchdown from Pittsburgh.
The unflappable Cardinals engineered a fourth-quarter comeback with Larry Fitzgerald.
Fitzgerald, he got it! Fires over the middle of Fitz, caught at the 45-50.
Fitzgerald, after a quiet first half, has become a force here in the second half. 2:31 left. Steelers have 2 timeouts. They trail by 3. He scrambles around, throws it back corner of the end zone. Santonio Holmes! I don't know how he did it!
Roethlisberger looked to the right, to the left, back to the right, and then threw it into the very corner of the end zone.
The confetti's all in the air. This was a great one, and the Steelers prevail.
NFL on ESPN America. NFL on ESPN America.
For the widest choice of official North American sports merchandise, for the perfect gift to collect or just to look good and support your team, visit espnamerica.com.
This evening evening. Earlier today, Peyton Manning and the Colts took care of business against Mark Sanchez and the New York Jets. Although Sanchez and the Jets got out to a quick start. Nice pump fake, and then he hooks up with Braylon Edwards for an 80-yard touchdown. The Jets led 17-6 in Indy. But the Colts came roaring back, 24 unanswered points. Peyton Manning to Pierre Garçon had a big game, over 150 yards receiving. And the Colts go to their second Super Bowl in the last 4 years. 30-17 is the final. A big day for Peyton Manning. 377 yards passing in the victory to get his team back to the Super Bowl. All right, so now we know the matchup for Super Bowl 44, the Colts and Saints. I guess you could say Peyton Manning's new team against his dad's former team. Let's check it out. Check it out. The Colts and Saints are headed to Miami for Super Bowl 44. The last time the Colts were in South Beach, they were hot, 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 and a little wet.
The Colts are world champions!
Who Dat Nation can finally take the bags off their heads because they ain'ts anymore. The Big Breezy will get to cheer on their team in a Super Bowl for the first time ever. And one fan might be conflicted. Archie, who do you love more? Check it out. It is the first time two teams that call a dome home will meet in a Super Bowl. Too bad it's outdoors. And it's the first time the two #1 seeds will play for the Lombardi Trophy since 1993. And check it out. If you thought Peyton Manning spreads the ball around, you'll be shocked to know that a record 19 Saints found the end zone this year. And finally, check it out. Remember when we were in Afghanistan?
Who's going to win the Super Bowl?
I got to go with the New Orleans Saints.
How about the Dallas Cowboys?
How about them Saints?
I'm going to go with the Vikings.
I think we're going to see a repeat this year, and that's because Pittsburgh's going to be.
And that's who I would go with, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, right? Hey, here's our Subway Fresh Take of the day. It will be the Saints and Colts in Miami 2 weeks from today. And so already, Harrah's has installed the Indianapolis Colts as 3.5-point favorites to win this ball game. Mr. Subway, Michael Strahan, give us your fresh take on that.
My fresh take on the Super Bowl is this. Gonna be unlike this game. And the reason the Saints won this game, turnovers. In the Super Bowl, you have two high-powered offenses, two defenses that get after it. It's going to be the team that has the least turnover. These teams, a lot of people may think they're not evenly matched. I think in a lot of ways they are. And I think going to be the team that controls the ball, the least amount of turnovers. That's going to be a Super Bowl champion.
The quarterback must go down, and he must go down hard. I think Greg Williams was channeling Al Davis today, and nothing spectacular about New Orleans' defense in terms of numbers. Allowed 475 yards, 31 first downs. Minnesota controlled the clock for almost 37 minutes, but 5 turnovers. That's who the Saints are.
Go ahead, Rich. Well, yeah, I think the big thing is Greg Williams, the defense coordinator, has got 2 weeks to prepare for Indianapolis, and I think that 2 weeks is vital. I know in our Super Bowls we had 2 weeks the first time, only had 1 week the second time. Defensively, they've got some struggles, they've got some holes. But I think with the 2 weeks getting ready for Peyton Manning, that will help New Orleans.
Peyton, don't forget, is from New Orleans.
And this game means a lot to him, and that's what we talked about, his dad's former team.
Exactly. And I don't think that Peyton's not going to be anything other than spectacular. That's my opinion. And I think, therefore, Drew's got to play the greatest game he's ever. And I think Sean Payton's got to call a better game. I didn't think his offensive game plan today was all that good.
Well, defensively today, the Vikings put up 475 yards against the Saints defense. The turnovers really made the difference. In the end, the Saints win. No matter how it happened, they're on to the Super Bowl. You heard these guys in their fresh take. Let's send it up to the guys who call the game today here on Fox, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, for their take. Guys?
All right, Kurt, thank you very much. And while we watched Drew Brees as the celebration began here in the Superdome, blowing kisses to the fans that just adore Drew Brees, who came here in 2006. It's the unbeatable play of the game, brought to you by Walmart. Save money, live better. A 40-yard game-winning field goal by the second-year NFL kicker, Garrett Hartley. And with that, the celebration with Mark Brunell, and the party began here in New Orleans. And we welcome you for the final time up into our broadcast booth. I'm Joe, that's Troy. And when you outgain a team 475 yards to 257, you outrush them 165 to 68, it all points back to turnovers, which is why the Minnesota Vikings aren't moving on and the Saints are.
Yeah, and I go back to the conversation that we had with Greg Williams there on Friday, and it was interesting because you just sensed that they really believed that they were going to get some interceptions in this game. Now, they ended up getting the 5 turnovers that you said. 3 of those, were fumbles, but they really felt that when the game would be on the line that they could do some things in order for Brett to make a mistake. And that's what was the difference, because this is going to be a hard one for Minnesota to swallow. They'll never get over it. Brett Favre will never get over it. When you look at the stat sheet and you really go through this game, it shouldn't have been close. It should not have been a game, but Howie Long said it best, that this is what the Saints are about. It's what they've been about all season long defensively. They've given up yardage, but they've been opportunistic, and they were again tonight.
And I think when you look at the season for Brett Favre, remarkable. He comes back off the surgery, 40 years old. He has a season he has, career low in interceptions, but it's that last interception that he will be thinking about for a long, long time. So we will send it back to Kurt Menefee down at field level. Sean Payton, in his 4th year here guiding the Saints, is taking his team to the Super Bowl. Kurt, guys, back to you.
All right, guys, we talked about the Saints franchise turning things around. The year before Sean Payton came, they won 3 games. They were displaced by Katrina. He has been here 4 years, 2 NFC championship games, and now a Super Bowl. And so that wraps it up from here in New Orleans. By the way, we did want to talk with Brett Favre. He declined our interview and has not yet made it to the podium. So check your late local news there on Fox to find out what he had to say. We are done here with football, but in 3 weeks, America's sport comes home as NASCAR.
Due to time constraints, we join the following program in progress.
And our hats off for, because we know how the people have waited down there, Tom.
Well, when you look at the history of the